Carmine, I may be getting evacuated right now. A Jackson County Sheriff's officer actually just stopped and said if we saw flames to basically run. So we're along the Bear Creek Greenway in Medford. As you can see behind me, the smoke is getting thick. It is dark and it's moving fast. The wind conditions here are strong. When they made that mandatory evacuation order, they opened up all 4 lanes and let everyone go through as quickly as possible. I've never experienced anything like that before, so I would say if you're in that area, get out as quick as possible. The mood here is absolutely somber and Talent, and as you can see behind me, this completely explains why. Here at Oak Valley in Talent, it was a 55 and older community. There's not one home left standing. I'm gonna get out of the frame so you can see a little bit better. There's a chimney, a television, bed frames, spines of chairs, gates that lead to nowhere, and people are just left to pick up the pieces of their house and their community. Actually standing in front of what used to be the Burger King off of exit 19, very close to where the fire initially started before it made its way through Phoenix and Talent and even into Medford. One thing that we've seen that's been similar in all 3 of those cities is if you take a look over here, this Shell station right across the street is completely untouched, but yet this Burger King, like I said, is burned to the ground. I'm here in front of the Jackson County Elections Office where usually this ballot box behind me has a line of people waiting for up to a mile waiting to drop off their ballot on election day, and today it looks a lot different. I originally was headed towards North River Road to get to the scene. That road's closed and it still is. I then had to turn around and go towards northbound I-5. I was stuck in traffic for about 20 minutes along with a lot of you. All of these restaurants in downtown Ashland and across the county get the opportunity to reopen indoor dining to 25% capacity starting Friday. There's people out walking around kind of tears in their eyes trying to figure out what they're going to do next. The same story with both residents who lost their homes and business owners. Here at the department, they're able to prolong those payments by sometimes as much as 1/3 the amount of the payment. Morgan says that's crucial simply because the bill has yet to be introduced, and even when it's passed, if it's passed, then they'll have to wait 91 days until it can go into effect. Governor Gavin Newsom declares masks mandatory in the state of California on Thursday. This is the first of its kind in the United States. This is how it works. Before entering the camp, people have to wait in line. They stand 6 feet apart and follow this red tape. They enter through this door to get their temperature screened. A majority of the evacuations have been lifted for the Caldwell fire, but fire officials say the public needs to remain prepared. Carmine, I'm in front of Spence Mountain along Highway 140, and if you can see behind me, the smoke is rolling in off the mountain, and Air Resources have been taking advantage of this water all day. A mother and her 2-year-old daughter awoken Monday morning to a smoke-filled house. As you can see behind me, this used to be their living room. Why they say their cat is the reason they're still alive. Over 5 months after losing everything in the Alameda fire, DNS Harley-Davidson is officially back open. The political world is keeping a close eye on Florida as former President Donald Trump prepares to make his first speech there since leaving office at the annual Conservative Political Action Conference, or CPAC. A close family friend has set up a GoFundMe account to help the family pay for funeral expenses. Plus, his parents just launched a memorial scholarship fund in his name. The CDC has just issued new guidance for nursing homes and assisted living facilities now that many residents are fully vaccinated. That means family members can make appointments to see loved ones again indoors and in person. Since the moment President Joe Biden took the oath of office, the impeachment trial of his predecessor has loomed over Washington. That trial now over, but raising new questions about what's next. President Biden is preparing to take a message of hope on the road this week following his COVID-19 rescue plan. But at the same time, more than a dozen Republican lawmakers are headed to the U.S.-Mexico border, where they say a crisis is boiling over. And over the past year, colleges and universities across the country have taken extraordinary steps to stay open and prevent coronavirus outbreaks on campus. This is Carsyn Currier. I am live in Eagle Point. I am on the corner of Idlewood Drive and Stevens Road in Eagle Point in front of Church on the Hill. This is right behind me. And that's where around 20 plus police vehicles are parked right now. A lot of you are probably wondering about the smoke that's coming towards Ashland right now. What we know right now from Oregon Department of Transportation, Interstate 5, Ashland, between exits 14 and 19 are closed due to this wildfire.
Carsyn, you've tackled a couple of stories on the Hispanic community. As
Yes.
I was talking about earlier, a lot of Hispanic families live right here in Phoenix and Talent, and you interviewed a family that lost everything.
Yeah.
Gut-wrenching.
Absolutely. I know me and you had a conversation before I actually went to that interview, and you said this is going to be really hard because I don't think a lot of people realize they lost everything.
Since Carsyn Currier is live in Phoenix with details on why Devin McCauley says she wishes they would have gotten a warning before it was too late. It's tonight's top story at 6. Carsyn.
Trish, Devin McCauley and her husband didn't even know about the fire until she arrived at work at about 3 p.m. that Tuesday. Her husband sat right here in what used to be their house before they were evacuated at a moment's notice. No emergency text, no emergency siren, nothing. He rushed out with his laptop and the clothes on their backs, and as you can see now, nothing's left.
Being from the Rogue Valley, we're so desensitized to fire because it's almost here every year, and it's always, up in the hills. And so I thought, and every year I think, okay, I'm going to get insurance, just for safety's sake, but then it dies down and everything's fine again.
Devin McCauley says wildfires in the Rogue Valley are a common occurrence. It wasn't until her husband messaged her panicking that she thought her house could actually be in danger. At that moment, McCauley says she insured her house through an agency online, but that didn't kick in until midnight.
This isn't my first fire. My family home burned when I was 10, and I had to watch it burn. I mean, thank God I didn't have to watch this burn, but nonetheless, it's gone.
11 years of memories gone in less than 24 hours.
Trying to get essentials, we turned around and we noticed that we don't have something that we had and that we need just to get along during the day. I got a letter from FEMA today, and according to them, the sum total of our life is worth $1,584.
Now they ask why. Why did this have to happen?
I just want some questions answered about why there was no warning system. There was no sirens. There's a fire hydrant right over here. This could have helped save our house, but it wasn't used.
Devin says she doesn't know what's next. They can't afford an apartment. She has a little over $1,000 to her name. She says even though Phoenix may rise from the ashes, it won't replace what they've lost. With your connection, Carsyn Currier, News 10.
News 10's Carsyn Currier explains.
If we can't open by the end of March, we're done. I mean, there's just no way.
Clorinda Maripin, owner of the Black Sheep Pub and Restaurant in Ashland, says it's on its last leg if indoor dining doesn't reopen soon.
I would like this to be over. I don't want to kill anybody. I would like to be able to make a living. I would like my people to be able to make a living.
Powderhorn Cafe in Grants Pass is in the same boat. Owner Tina Gottschall says she was frustrated after seeing indoor dining still isn't allowed to open, but she isn't giving up hope yet.
My knee jerk was, are you kidding me? Every 2 weeks, we are reevaluating everything. I am really hopeful that we are going to see a change.
Gottschall says that doesn't mean she hasn't thought about reopening despite the COVID-19 guidelines.
You see your people struggling, and you know that your business that you have put your life's blood in for 36 years, and it is really tough.
On the other hand, Common Block Brewing Company has been busy because of their extensive outdoor seating. Still, employee Rachel Koenig says all of the constant changes are hard to follow.
There's so much unknown, like it's kind of going week to week and figuring out, trying to guess what perhaps the next phase is going to be. Going from only 50 outside to an indoor dining area and expanded outdoor seating is going to mean a big shift for everybody.
James Smith, owner of Rogue Fair, says he's frustrated with the inconsistency regarding what's safe and what's not. I asked him if he's thought about reopening despite guidelines.
Certainly have thought about it, right? But it's like, look, we at the end of the day, we're a society of rules and laws. What I need is lawmakers and rule makers to be consistent with their policies. As I see it, I don't always follow the logic on how some of these rules are applied.
In Jackson County, Carsyn Currier, News 10. That's right, Trish. Right behind me is where the 3,200-acre Alameda fire started. As fire crews worked through the night chasing flames, protecting buildings. Fire investigators say their job looked a lot different.
My first fire in Jackson County was in 1993. And so since that time, I've seen a lot of fire and a lot of big fires, but nothing that has gone like this.
This right here was the beginning of a 3,200-acre fire just beyond the intersection of Alameda Drive and Michelle Avenue. Ralph Sartain, Division Chief of Fire and Life Safety for Ashland Fire Rescue, says this day will forever be ingrained in his memory.
It was black. I mean, everything was black. Everything was burned out. This field was actually still this black. So this is the first time I've been back since the second day.
The second day, that was September 9th, that was when the investigation started. Sartain says all hands were on deck. Even nearby neighbors played a part.
There was about, I believe, 20 police officers that canvassed the entire neighborhood, obtained photos, bell ring cameras, video from people's cell phones, and talked to everybody in a 4-block radius.
He didn't feel comfortable leading an investigation of this size, so he called in the best.
We don't do a lot of wildfire investigations in the city of Ashland. My career is based in structural firefighting, and so the fire investigations I've done for the last 11 years have all been structural. And a fire this size, I'm not arrogant enough to think that I can do the best job for the community, and I wanted the best person for it, who happens to be an arson detective with the Oregon State Police.
Fire crews were trying to knock down a 3,200-acre fire, but investigators really just honing in on this one location. The investigation into the homes burned in the fire zone, that's done by insurance companies.
There's a lot of insurance companies that are represented for all these homes that were lost that will send out private investigators to confirm that the fire actually occurred as a result of our fire. So as the fire progressed and other people's homes were burned, the private investigators will determine if it was actually in the path of the fire, or in some cases people actually use that as a crime of opportunity and they'll set another fire to try and collect insurance.
Investigators use what's called macro or visible fire signs to learn about the fire.
It's very visible with the naked eye. You look at how the leaves are folding, the branches are pulling away from the fire.
They also use what's called micro or small fire signs, only visible with magnifying glasses, to learn about the fire.
Once we had the area down to a 5-foot square, it was gridded off in 1-foot sections and then searched inch by inch.
The Alameda fire had fire crews scrambling on the ground, chasing flames, protecting buildings. For investigators, it was a different story.
A lot of people think because the fire is so huge and there's so much devastation, so much loss to our community, that the fire investigation will be really hard. The fire investigation really doesn't extend for the purpose of the fire past this marsh. So the fire investigation is concentrated into one small area of 100 foot by 200 foot. And that's all we have to really concentrate. The other fires are an aftermath of the actual ignition of this.
He says he's unaware of anyone who used the Alameda fire as a crime of opportunity to collect insurance money. He says 10 official organizations were a part of this investigation. The criminal investigation is still ongoing, so more details on how the fire started cannot be released. With your connection, Carsyn Currier, News 10.